Hi guys, and welcome to another 10 Facts video. This time we're looking at Naughty Dog's iconic marsupial, Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot is a character and series of video games created for Sony by Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin of Naughty Dog, and was originally designed by Charles Zembias. The series, with the first game being released in 1996, was originally a PlayStation exclusive, but has since expanded to several systems and has spanned multiple genres, selling over 50 million copies worldwide. Naughty Dog moved away from the franchise after Crash Team Racing, seemingly due to a difficult relationship with Universal. They've gone on to create some equally memorable franchises such as Jak and Daxter, The Last of Us and Uncharted, with the most recent game Uncharted 4 containing playable Crash Bandicoot sections. The upcoming N Sane Trilogy on PS4 will be the 20th game in the series, including spin-offs. Most of the games are set on the fictitious Wombat Islands to the south of Australia, and the main series entries are 3D platform games. The hero and namesake of the series is a bandicoot named Crash, who often finds himself at odds with Dr. Neo Cortex, who created Crash and now wants to see him dead. So, whether you've played any of the Crash games or not, did you know these 10 facts? The developers at Naughty Dog wanted Crash to look and animate in the same manner as that of Looney Tunes cartoon characters with their squash stretch physics. In addition, Crash Bandicoot was to have animated cutscenes, but this idea was scrapped as Sony quite rightly wanted to emphasise the 3D aspect of the game. Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin decided that their character should be a marsupial, preferably relatively unknown, and so during development referred to the character as Willy the wombat. They later discovered bandicoots in an Australian wildlife guide and much preferred that, but Universal were adamant that the character should remain a wombat and be renamed Wuzzle to appeal to kids. Naughty Dog put their collective foot down, threatening to abandon development altogether, and so got their way. But the bandicoot was still unnamed. Crash got his name from the way that he crashes headfirst into crates, which were actually added very late on in the development process as a means of adding more complex puzzles to the levels. While we're on the topic of names, the floating witch doctor mask that follows Crash around, Aku Aku, was named after a Polynesian restaurant in Boston which was frequented by the game's creators. Before the likes of Crash Bandicoot and Super Mario 64, which incidentally both previewed at 1996's E3, platform games were always 2D. Unlike the classic side-scrolling gameplay of genre staples like Sonic, Naughty Dog wanted to place the camera behind their protagonist, so essentially the player would spend the majority of the time looking at the character's arse. This gave birth to Naughty Dog's working title for the game, Sonic's Arse Game. The voice acting in the first game was done almost entirely by one actor, Brendan O'Brien, who voiced not only Crash, although admittedly he doesn't say much, but also Dr. Neo Cortex, Dr. Nitrous Brio, and several henchmen including Koala Kong and Pinstripe Potteroo. The only one he didn't voice was Ripperoo, whose laugh is a sped up sample from voice actor Dallas McKennon, who sang and did voice work in many Disney films in the 50s, 60s and 70s, although he goes uncredited in the game. The sample is the same laugh that the hyena had in Lady and the Tramp. Crash's blonde, big-titted girlfriend Torna, who he spends the first game trying to rescue from the clutches of Dr. Cortex, was based on Pamela Anderson. She was deemed to be too sexual for the target audience, and so wasn't present in subsequent games in the series. The official explanation of her absence is that she left Crash for Pinstripe, the gangster Potteroo, who tried to stop him from saving her in the first place. Torna, you slag! After Naughty Dog's founders Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin had been working on Crash Bandicoot at Universal's LA studios, the time came to announce the game at 1996's E3. It soon became apparent to them that Universal would rather hog all the glory, as Naughty Dog's logo was absent from the game's prototype box and any promotional material. This was in direct violation of Naughty Dog's contract. In response, Rubin produced a document entitled Naughty Dog, creator and developer of Crash Bandicoot, to hand out in front of Universal's E3 display, politely offering Universal the chance to review it before the event. Rumour has it that the head of Universal was pissed off to say the least, but the point was made. When deciding what colour Crash, still called Willy at the time, would be, Andy Gavin compiled a list of popular characters and their respective colours. He then made a list of all background colours that would likely appear in levels such as forests and deserts. Any colours that would clash or simply wouldn't look good were immediately ruled out. This process left them with orange, which explains Crash's fur colouring. This also explains the lack of lava levels in the first game. The first Crash game was rather hard to complete, partly due to infrequent save points, with the latter half being particularly difficult. The level's slippery climb is a great example, with mistimed jumps being a common cause of death and subsequent frustration. Naughty Dog originally created an even harder version of this level called Stormy Ascent, but it was removed for being too harsh, although it can still be accessed using a Game Shark should you be feeling masochistic. The difficulty of the first game made Naughty Dog come up with a system to help struggling players out. For the sequels, Naughty Dog introduced Dynamic Difficulty Adjustment, or DDA, which helps inexperienced players by giving them bonus hit points after frequent deaths, and adds extra checkpoints whenever a certain number of lives are lost. This is a common feature in games these days, but the Crash series pioneered it. Naughty Dog came across a cheap knockoff Crash toy from Japan, which resembled Crash although had huge eyebrows and buck teeth. Finding this hilarious, Naughty Dog decided to spoof the toy, initially referring to the character as Trash Bandicoot, and decided to put him into their games. He first appeared as an Easter egg in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, and can be seen dancing in 3 of the levels after all the crystals and gems have been collected. His first proper outing was as an unlockable character in Crash Team Racing. He's unlocked by either winning the Purple Cup in Adventure Mode, or by entering a code at the main menu. He's since appeared in several games in the series. Crash was one of the first 2 characters to go multi-platform, the other being Spyro the Dragon. While Naughty Dog developed Crash Bandicoot, they shared premises at Universal Interactive Studios with Spyro's developer Insomniac Games. A friendship and mutual respect developed between the 2 studios, and evidence of this bled into subsequent games. For example, holding down L1 and triangle during Spyro's opening screen will grant access to a demo of Crash Bandicoot 3. Pressing L1, R2 and square in Spyro 2 and Spyro Year of the Dragon's opening screens will award you with demos of Crash Team Racing and Crash Bash respectively. This worked both ways, as pressing up up, down down, left right, square on Crash Bandicoot 3's opening screen will give you a Spyro demo. When Naughty Dog first presented the game to Sony's Japanese executives, they absolutely hated it. Sony almost rejected it immediately, but a last-minute redesign of the characters that made them look more friendly and cartoony convinced Sony to publish the game. Ken Kutaragi, then CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment, hated the idea of Crash, or any cartoony mascot for that matter, representing the PlayStation, so Crash Bandicoot was given no special treatment in Japan. It was a different story in America. Sony over there thought that the PlayStation needed a mascot to compete with Mario, and Crash was the best choice. Despite protests from Sony in Japan, they pushed Crash in America, featuring him and his games prominently in their advertising. The adverts featured a guy in a huge Crash costume, an ironic little dig at video game mascot culture in general. So that was my 10 Crash Bandicoot facts, guys. Did you know any or all of them? And are you planning on picking up the upcoming N Sane Trilogy on PS4 in June? Let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.